No video, just straight up live. I think more so I want to do lives. We'll see what happens with that. When and if I come in, I'll probably do lives. A bit under the weather again, but this is the season to stay healthy. I'm out and about plowing snow a lot. But I got to thinking about you as the empath when the narcissist abuses you, takes you through all of that stuff they take you through. It does cause you to go down to a point, and sometimes to an extreme point. Um, you're at your wits' end and you can't figure things out. This is pre awakening, and that is predominantly why they drive you down because you're unawares. Now, post awakening, even being aware, you're going through a rebuilding process, and that rebuilding process is not easy. It is not overnight. It takes years, and in many cases, a lot of us are going to be rebuilding our life for the rest of our life, which is not so much a bad thing because if you're elevating and you're educating yourself, not only about narcissists and how they move, but educating yourself about you as an empath. What's your prime purpose? What is your design by God? What is your purpose and your duties and obligations here in this earth? You carry a light, and that light is to be uh, given to the world. It's not to be given recklessly to the world. It is supposed to be extended to the world so they have hope, so they have strength, so they have resilience, so they have the courage to keep going on. Because God knew before you knew that you were that one. You were the chosen one that He designed from the very beginning to not only go through this earth, but to go through things in this earth and to come out of them in a way where it will leave the narcissist perplexed. And I wanted to talk about, as the title suggests, the narcissist really wants you laid up. And it's fitting that I'm laid up here right now, but I'm relaxing. There is nothing like an empath awakened that is in seclusion, isolation on purpose in a healthy way and not needing anyone around to feel significant, to be. You can just exist. You can have your own thoughts, which you always had your own thoughts. You were always a critical thinker, a deep thinker. When you're around a narcissist, just the fact of you sitting there or standing there pondering, thinking, they sense that you are a deep thinker. And what panics them is they don't know what you're thinking, and they are always thinking that someone knows they're up to no damn good. So this is a panic they carry around all day, every day for the rest of their life. And to combat that panic, they have to continue to keep busy, keep moving, keep manipulating, keep conning people, keep playing games, keep trying to measure up, keep trying to get approval, keep trying to get adoration, admiration, adulation, attention grubbing. Uh, they're just attention grubbing parasites. And that's not a personal attack on them. This is just who they are. So when they, by design, attempt to do things to have you laid up, hello, how you doing? Thunder Man, how you doing? I'm just talking about how the narcissist would hope that they have you laid up as a result of their trying to destroy you. But they don't realize you're leveling up. You're leveling up. And if you understand yourself as an awakened empath, going out in society now, do you notice when you go into a place or you happen upon friends, they get sick to their stomach because, like I said many times before, many of other content creators, this is regurgitated facts and truths. You are moving and existing in a whole new way that they cannot figure out. They may even know that you know, let's say they know that you're studying or you've used the word narcissist out and about. My day's been good. I'm laying up real fast because I got to go plow some snow. But I'm not in a hurry to do that because it's still coming down. You know, it comes down very slow, but it accumulates. So I'm not going to bother right now. Just going to let it fall. It should subside this evening about 4. So in an hour or so, I'll go out and do some plowing. Other than that, I'm coming back in and I'm just going to relax, which is what I'm discussing now. When you happen upon that narcissist, they know that there is something different about you and they get so sick to their stomach. This is narcissist that, yeah, you got some last night. This is upstate New York. It's probably snowing everywhere. They know that there's something instinctive about you that is not as it was before because your light has actually been turned up. Okay, see you later, Thunder Man. Take care of yourself. Thanks for stopping in. They know something is different about you. So instead of you being laid up like they anticipated, they see undeniably that you're leveling up. And contrary to their belief, you were not supposed to reappear in that way. They want you dead. They wish you dead. And that sounds grim. And I'm not cutting any corners. I'm not going to dress it up. This is a spiritual disturbance that this is a spiritual disturbance unlike anything you will ever know. This is demonic overthrow at its very worst. This is someone who's programmed to destroy. You know, some of us in times past, and even now, we're human. I mean, narcissists and empath, we are human as uh, it pertains to a design, nose, eyes, uh, ligaments, blood, heart, and different things like that in the physical. But it goes beyond that in the spiritual because we are all spiritual beings in a body. This is why most of everything we deal with in the world is energy. The energy that you give off when they meet you before they begin to destroy you. That is why they go on to a quest to destroy you. You know, most of us, we would meet someone and we would see that there is something good about them. We readily are drawn to that because it enlightens us. It perks us up. It also perks the narcissist up. But they see a sordid gain. They see an opportunity to leverage that. They're opportunists. They can see you as a good thing to get them in a good place. Now, I know that makes sense because when we overcomplicate and we over justify some of the things narcissists do, oh, they just going through stuff. Oh, they just lost their mom. Oh, they just, oh, they grew up in a bad situation. Okay, if you know these things, you better pump your brakes and take a step back and start observing these people in their physical movements, their body language, and let that intuition take the forefront and start observing them casually and see if there's a consistent defiance against all things good, all things ethical, all things truthful, with regards to all that harsh upbringing. See if they're just hell bent on destruction. And if they are, cousin, mother, father, sister, brother, child, your own child, And I say that because it is a it is a very strong chance that I myself may have to make that decision one day. And I will make that decision. If I should discover I have a child that is hell bent on destruction, there is a decision that I will have to make. Although I'm guiding that child in the way that they should go, that's my only duty in this world as a father. It is not my duty to over convey and over convince that child of what they need to do. You take the prodigal son. That's the very best example that any of us as parents can have. The prodigal son. He wanted to squander his wealth. And all of these things can be interchangeable metaphorically, symbolism. This is when you've given your all to this child and they've given you their ass to kiss because they think they know best. That's the human nature, but in that human nature, there is something called rationale, reasoning, and allowing disciplines and consequence to mold your character instead of causing it to manipulate your character so you become manipulative. And so the narcissist, as what I was saying, they will know that there is something different about you. You move differently, you exist differently. You'll have a total stranger that's got dark energy, unlike the example I just used, the friends and people who are acquainted with you. And it would be people, let's say you go in a shopping uh, establishment, which I tend to do a lot. I go to gas stations and little department stores quite frequently, and such as contractors do, hardware stores. And these are people who are acquainted with my presence. I may not be friends of theirs, they have just been acquainted with me in that capacity. And I might not have spent a lot of time interacting with them, but I will tell you this, they even know when you look up and you see them, you'll see them either go another way, and if you walk by them, they will drop their head, or they will have this little evil eye. It will never be a pleasant interaction. It will be never a pleasant interaction. And if by chance they do try to give you a half-ass fake uh, hello, how you doing? They're not looking you in the eye. And if they do, they look up like with the side eye. It will be all of those things, everything but, or one of those things, or a combination of things, but it'll be everything but, I heard you, with authenticity, with grace, with integrity, character, morals, all of this stuff that I think we have to grow into. We don't just grow up with morals. We don't just appear in the world with morals, disciplines, ethics, character, which sounds like all the same things, but they are variations of uh, different components of what makes us uh, grow into someone who can not only live a life that's healthy and harmonizing in the world, we can accept certain people at times that are going through these ups and downs as they build their character. Now, we accept human beings one to another, empaths we do, good, bad, or indifferent. But there's a certain tolerance that we have towards people that seem to want to change and seem to want to do better. An awakened empath, we know almost out the gate if that person even has the desire. We sense it, we observe it based on how they are behaving. And we also can see through the manipulation. We have a razor sharp um, observation once we are awakened is something that to put in words, it would not adequately be able to be put into words. On the fly as we live, I'm okay. How are you, Angela Romero? I'm doing very well. I'm just talking about why and how the narcissist expected you to be laying up, almost like I am now, relaxing. They want you to be down bad, but in essence, you're leveling up when they wanted you laying up for dead. So now that you know that this is how it was supposed to be in the narcissist's mind, that's fine and well that they thought that way. Now they have to deal with the fact that it is not the reality that they expected. I've said this before, and it's not something that I think everyone who's awakened and everyone who is awakening will feel right now. But I hope one day you do feel this way, that the narcissist's abuse to you was a blessing. I would not want it any other way than the way that it happened with me. And that's just not talk. Because I look at my life in the totality, even before I met this narcissist who inevitably forced my awakening, it causes me to look back in retrospect, hindsight, of a lot of my life throughout growing up as a very little child. And it will you too. It will cause you to reflect, not just in the most recent past with the relationship of the narcissist. Your awakening should, and it will, unless you try to dumb it down, but you cannot deny that it's going to happen. When it happens, you're going to reflect on areas of your life that you have forgotten about, that you would have never ever reflected on had it not been for the abuse of the narcissist. It causes you to go back to all things life, all things friends, all things jobs, all things family, all things friends, acquaintances, interactions, different situations that didn't make any sense at all, that someone took you through. Someone created a disturbance, an argument, a conflict out of the air. You were never able to understand it. It was an incident that happened in your life that you had went on to forget about, although it just, you don't even know how we got there or how you got there. The clarity of all of those things will become so crystal clear until you will be able to put that thing to rest. You'll be able to bury that thing. And all of those things will add to your healing. All of those unhealed wounds, those gaping sores, they'll begin to heal, because those are the things that are the drudgery and the drag on your life, believe it or not. Even though they may have been 20 years ago, 30 years ago, you grew up with a friend, because some of these incidents you went through before you awaken, of course, in life, where uh, very much when narcissists interacting with you and trying to dim and blow out your light, you still 20, 30 years later have either interacted or been in the space, in the same neighborhood, area, city, state as the person that you had that encounter with. So they were forever a constant thought or an existence or reality in your mind space. If that makes any sense to you, you might have buried the hatchet, if you will, on that incident you and that person in school had a fight. They stole something out of your book bag or something like that, and you let bygones be bygones. But of course, when you see that person, that thought is at the forefront of your mind. Questions you want you questions you never want to be asked. So you begin, as you're awakened from the narcissist abuse, you begin to just look at all of this stuff and you say, man, this not only makes sense, you begin to have a sense of peace about everything, because you will realize that most, if not all, of those incidents had nothing to do with you. You didn't contribute to these incidents um, in the way that the person wanted you to believe you did. You now know it was because of your aura, your existence, uh, your whole state of mind, your peace is the why these chaotic people created these problems in your life. Because empaths don't go looking for trouble. Even if we have a disagreement with someone, we like to be a voice of reason, because they're counting us on us to over explain stuff to them. And what it does is, all the while they creating this chaotic conversations or debates, we're over explaining ourselves to them, and they're salivating like dogs to a feast, because you're getting their adrenaline pumping, which equates to fuel. Their serotonin is about to blow their head, explode their head, because the influx of all of this fuel supply based on your despair, your dissatisfaction, the look on your face, and you're explaining like you truly are guilty of something. They love this because it shows them that they've hoodwinked you and you fell for it. But when you're leveling up, as opposed to them thinking you're supposed to be laid up in intensive care or something like that, and in many times they will cause you a lot of health problems. A narcissist meets you and you have pre-existing health problems, they will capitalize on it. They will capitalize on multiple uh, levels. They will make you feel like they're your caregiver. This is why it is so, I won't say complex, it is so elusive to truly pin down a narcissist who is doing their dirty work on somebody. But as an awakened empath, we have been able to observe things that are not even so much in our household or in our domain. We see and observe these things out and about, but you'll never be able to explain and convince someone of it. They'll go for blood. You'll be that enemy. You can't force somebody to wake up. You awakening or you awakened are um, that beacon. You're just supposed to carry your light. And so that person will capitalize on that person who has a pre-existing health issue under the disguise of they're their caregiver. And a lot of this is going on in the world. They don't give a damn about that person. You can tell the way they care for them, how they have this little, I'm in my own world. I see them a lot of times working for UCPs, um, these other pilot programs that they have for the elderly, the disabled. They got some of these people driving these vans around here in town 60 miles an hour and a 45 miles an hour speed zone. They're on their phone while they're driving. I mean, a lot of times they'll be at the stoplight on their phone. So now I'm thinking, you're at the stoplight on your phone. Why is your phone even accessible at all? So you think they're just at the stoplight on their phone? They're not that disciplined. A lot of them be driving with with their left foot um, up on the dashboard, if you will. A lot of girls drive like this, and you know what I'm talking about. Girls, stop driving like that. Impals, girls, women, females. If you're driving like that and you get in an accident, that is not going to be good. Just so you know. You could lose a leg playing around that game. And but they're just so overly relaxed in ways that they need to be vigilant. They need to be, both hands on the wheel, just doing the basics of what you did when you got the job. A narcissist will get that job, healthcare. They will play like they are the saviors, servant saviors. Once they get that job, they begin to complain about it. They're bitching about the job, bitching about the patients. HIPAA law goes out the window. So back to square one of how that person who finds this person or gets in a relationship with an individual who already has pre-existing medical issues, they will they will it's multiple ways they will capitalize. And all of this equates to fuel supply. They will be their overseer, their signee, because a lot of times family members can care for their elderly and disabled family member and they get paid, which I think is a beautiful thing. I would believe that why entrust quality care to other people outside of your family members when your family members are the ones that they are more familiar with? It just makes sense. But that being the case, take a narcissist family member that has this person who has diabetes, high blood pressure, disabled in a wheelchair. They will play the game in public like they are just in love with that family member. And if you look at that person in the wheelchair, just look at their facial expression. That will tell you everything. But they've been conditioned to just not even talk. They'll be hyping that person up, that disabled person. Oh, it's my uncle. I take care of him, and da 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 da. This is generally in the center aisle of Walmart or something like that. Uh, when people are stroking their ego, like, "Oh, that's great, that's a blessing. You able to do that and help them. God's gonna bless you for that." They love to hear that kind of stuff. I mean, mind you, there are just people who really truly have a desire to care for their family members that appreciate being complimented. But we're not talking about those people. We're not talking about healthy people that don't mind the compliment and someone seeing their worth, being noticed for being able to do that thing because it's hard. It's a challenge. Take a mother that has an autistic kid that is 100% autistic, not high functioning, but will have to live home with that mom for the rest of his life, and she has been dealing with him or her autistic child, since birth, doing that very thing. Uh, that breaks my heart to see that, but I've also seen and observed this with narcissist mothers and a lot of times some fathers. A man who's caring for, and this has been my observation, this is just the conditioning of our world. When a man is seeing, caring, pushing, and assisting a disabled, either family member or person, it is observed very differently. It is just seen as a normal thing. But when there is times when a woman is seen or observed with that same said disabled child or person, you can see people gravitate to that woman with a full on conversation, giving them hella adoration. But that's fine and well. That's not the principal point here. The principal point is when you have narcissists that are overseers of people who are already down bad, they capitalize on it. They capitalize on it like you wouldn't believe. And this is something I will speak about continually here or there, um, on a constant to keep you guys forever reminded that you are the overseers, spiritual overseers. You are the watchmen and the watchwomen are over these things that a lot of us are just going through our world, dismissing it, not noticing it. These disabled people sometimes live a very deprived life at the hands of the narcissists who are overseeing. They live a very torturous life. A lot of times, most of it happens behind closed doors because that's how the narcissists are. They're sneaky. But like I say, out in public, they become so comfortable with their disdain for that person. So all of that fake kindness persona has worn off. And if you just casually pay attention, you will see they're at their wits' end with that person that they've been entrusted to care for. It's a drag on them, the narcissist, to care for someone who they've been entrusted to care for. So when they got these kind of people who are down bad, that's when they're at their best. I often wonder, and I'm pretty sure it's a reality, that some of these disabled people are empaths. And let me show you how God will deal with that narcissist when they have entrusted themselves to care for that person who is disabled, health wise or otherwise. God will cause that narcissist to live a life of hell in caring for that disabled empath. Nothing that narcissist does on a day-to-day basis will ever work out, will ever go right, because they neglected to bathe that disabled empath. They too themselves will reek body odor no matter how many showers they take. And that is that's a phenomenon too, as I speak about it. Uh, I've known narcissists to have body odors unlike anything you've smelt before on a person. Their whole inner existence reeks. And so their body odor emits a lot of times that stench, that odor. They don't do hygiene like healthy people do because they're unhealthy within. They do a lot of things on the outside. They do the makeup, they do the lipstick, they do the hair coloring. The man, narcissist man, they do the haircuts. They're always at the barbershop on a weekly. They're religious about these things. When and if you find one like that who's very vain, they are vain. And it gets to a point where they now have come to a point where they're grooming themselves or they're being groomed, uh, physically speaking, with hair and makeup and stuff. But yet, instead of them looking better, they're progressionally looking worse. It comes to a point where it doesn't matter how much makeup, lipstick, how many haircuts they get. You can see that their physical existence is rotting from the outside or the inside out. This is facts. I've seen this. I've observed this. And these are not narcissists that have directly impacted my life. These are just narcissists that I tend to observe that I've known 10 years ago, and we are all going to age. And when you talk about physical appearance, impulse, we do care to some degree, a strong degree, about our appearance. We do care a lot to a strong degree about our hygiene, a lot of different things that are external. Uh, but there's a consistency with our inner man and woman as well as our external man. Everything has to complement each other. The inner has to complement the exterior. It can't be one over the other. And that's how you get balance. I've seen people who had a very put together exterior. They were very attractive, very pretty. But as soon as they opened their mouth and started talking about subject matter, and as I grew up, I didn't have the greatest conversations. We went through the motions. And again, we're not here to talk about we're better than the narcissist. We're just trying to be better than we've been in times past. That is what we are supposed to do. We're supposed to better ourselves as we progress through this life. How else are we going to influence other people as to what the possibilities and the reality of going from bad to better is? But a lot of people don't have anything to measure bad to better with. They just see tunnel vision, bad to worse, bad to worser, because of the company they keep. What makes us any different? We decided to branch off because it's something that doesn't sit well with a narcissist. I mean, not an empath. It is just something that doesn't sit well with us. The bad behavior that we once adopted and portrayed in life, there is something within us as an empath, in the spirit of the empath, that does not sit well. It's almost like we're digesting and we're feeding on something that does not agree with our stomach, and it shouldn't. The hell with perfection, being a perfect person. An empath is just concentrated on evolving. Simple as it gets. We just want to evolve. We feel and sense that there is something better all the time. There is room for improvement with us. And God is pouring that awareness in us, little by little by little, not all at once. And that is the compass, the moral compass that I believe that keeps us all empaths continually wanting to level up. And so the narcissist truly wants us to be laid up in a bad way. But we've chosen to level up because everything in this world is about a matter of choice. Narcissists can't even choose appropriately for their own life, because if they chose a chosen one, picked you out of a lineup to destroy you, you would think that they would also have the ability to choose not to abuse you and just meet you and say, wow, this person is treating me well. They are very respectful to me. They won't have the desire to help me, assist me, and even encourage me to be different. That's the way you and I think. All of those things I just named to you, a narcissist has disdain for that type of stuff. For you to value them, you're a sucker. Because in their head, they're like, you don't even know me like I know me. And they don't know themselves like they know them. They just know they're nothing of the kind. They're nothing of the sort. Everything you see in them, they're like Wile E. Coyote. You stick your hand out to help them, you won't get it back like Denzel Washington in Book of Elijah. But that's role reversals. He was the empath, and the goon was the narcissist. Wile E. Coyote never ever comes to a point of saying, man, if I just chill with Roadrunner and stop being so hateful and envious because this guy got some mad speed, he's quick on his feet, and he's a happy go lucky guy going about his business. Why don't I just follow him? See where this guy going? See, Wile E. Coyote is going nowhere fast. And he big mad because Roadrunner is going everywhere fast. He's living life. Living life. I grew up watching Wile E. Coyote. I'll actually probably watch it again right now just to see. Those are silent films. No words are necessary, but you can see. Uh, you can see a very good concept as to how the narcissist is relentless to destroy you for what seemingly is for no reason at all. Makes no logical sense. And even after Wile E. Coyote is being, all of this stuff, dynamite is blowing up in his face that he's setting for Roadrunner. All of these traps that he's setting, they're backfiring on him. He's planning it out, but he even steps on some of these things to see if they're going to work. And then he gets himself smashed. And he's willing to do that just to make sure it works. And when Roadrunner comes through, Roadrunner can be sitting on the trap, and pew, he's gone. While the Coyote, he's scratching his head. Why didn't it trap him? So he goes over, start bouncing on it, and it smashes him or traps him. And you hear Roadrunner beep beep. It's not rubbing it in his face. Roadrunner just keep doing what Roadrunner do. Beep beep. So, as an awakened empath, you might not want to spend your days, nights, hours, and minutes thinking about how a narcissist operates. Because in your mind, if you're this kind of empath, I would hope that you're not. But I have a fair idea that a lot of us empaths are still in big ways broken in ways that are in dire need of repairing. Some of us are probably sitting there thinking, man, I'm done with them. All they took me through, I'm not going to focus on them. I'm going to keep it moving. They took a lot from me. They took a lot out of me. I'm not worried about them. Wish them well. I'm going to go on about my life, trying to live my life the best that I can. Well, this is a big part of you doing that. If you don't do this part, that part that you're trying to succeed in, it will be painstakingly more difficult than it would be if you inform, educate yourself, run towards this information and this awareness and educating yourself. Run towards it, gravitate towards it. It's not going to be easy. Gravitate towards it in a very engaging way. Because to say that you're not going to focus on them, they're everywhere, they're in all aspects of life, is to say that you would rather just go out in society in the blind and just let what will be. Wishful thinking won't help you in this situation, guys. Just because you're thinking it's going to be okay doesn't mean it's going to be okay. I used the example of brushing your teeth. Just because you have good teeth, you think they will continue to be good teeth because you continually eat chocolate and you just rinse your mouth out as opposed to brushing your mouth. So you can go so far to improve yourself with the narcissist abuse and awareness, or you can just go at this in a very practical, realistic way, staying informed, staying engaged, staying aware that these things exist in the spiritual realm. And unfortunately, they are manifesting through humans. And that's the only way that these dark spirits have power. They have to demonstrate themselves through physical human beings. I once told someone we have what we call natural disasters, just different things in our world that happen. Some people try to blame on the devil. Someone once said, when it's thunder and lightning, that's some would say that's God beating his wife on the head with a frying pan, which is very, yeah, that's deep, disturbing. Or they would say the devil beating his wife with a frying pan, one or the other. But to deny that, we live in a world that we don't understand everything that's happening. We do understand what's happening with the narcissist. We now have a better idea of why these things are occurring. And we know, those who believe in spiritual matters know that this is a spiritual matter to which you can't see it with your naked eyes. You have to be centered in spiritual principles, um, asking God to show you some things that you could never see on your own. And when He reveals these things, then you have a choice to make. Do I need to engage more with this type of stuff? Because it's going to serve me. It's going to serve me at the end of the day. It's not going to harm me. It's only going to help me. And that's why we're here, guys. We need for you to understand that because you're out of that relationship with them, it doesn't stop there. You have to keep educating yourself about narcissists and these insidious things that they do because they're constantly working on you, even from afar. You may have had physical distance from them, but they're still smearing you. They're still doing divisive things to try and see if they can finish what they started with you. So stay in tune, stay aware, stay educated, man. This is basically um, the same thing I'm saying, but in a different way. But you were supposed to be laid up, down bad. But contrary to their belief, you're leveling up. That's all I got, guys. Have a wholesome, peaceful day. That being said, us.